The Operation Settings Editor is where you define specific parameters of each operation in your project. Each operation type in MillMage contains its own unique group of settings, and we'll cover each of them in their own videos. But today, we're going to focus on ones commonly shared across all or most operations. To begin, select any operation from the New Operations drop-down menu, or double-click an existing one listed in your Operations window to open the Settings Editor window. Starting at the top, we have the Name field. By default, all operations are named based on their specific type. Use the Name field to give your operation a unique name. For complex projects with multiple operations of the same type, this makes organization much easier and prevents you from running the wrong operation. The output toggle determines whether an operation is enabled and visible when previewing your job, running a job, or exporting your project in G-code format. MillMage makes it easy to quickly switch between enabled operations by toggling the output directly from the Operations window. Before starting a job, make sure that only the operations you want to run or preview are set to enable. Click on the Paint Color button to open and select a color from the Select Color window. When viewing your project in the Preview window, you can enable Paint Colors to overlay this color onto the shapes the operation is assigned to. Use this option to get a clear visual of the output of your operation with its current settings. Auto Use Layer changes the behavior of color layers in MillMage. By default, the color palette in MillMage is purely used as an organizational tool when designing and laying out the elements of your project. When enabled, all shapes in your workspace set to the layer color defined in the Operation Settings Editor automatically have that operation assigned to them. Press the Select Tool button to open your tool library, and select a tool to assign it to the operation. MillMage automatically filters for appropriate tools for the type of operation you've selected. Some operations require specific tool geometries. If a tool in your library is not compatible with the operation you've selected, it will be unlisted and not selectable. Once selected, information about that tool is pulled from the tool library and displayed beneath the Tool Setup section. Start depth is the depth relative to the surface of your stock material, as defined in your project setup, at which an operation will begin carving or cutting. Setting this value to 0 means the operation will begin at the top of your material. Any value greater tells your router to begin carving below the surface of your material. Similar to start depth, final depth is relative to the defined value of your stock material. This is the total depth of material that will be removed from your stock. Depth per pass specifies the depth of material to be removed with each pass of your router. The total number of passes is equal to final depth and your set depths per pass. For example, if you set depth per pass to 1 mm and final depth to 10 mm, your router will make 10 passes of 1 mm each. The correct depth per pass for your operation depends on your exact CNC, tool, operation, and material. Larger values lead to greater stress on your tool and machine, while processing your material more quickly than lower values, which require more passes. Check with your machine or tool's manufacturer to find recommended depth per pass values. Entry type controls the motion of your router as it lowers into your material. With plunge, the router is lowered straight down along the z-axis into your material, before moving in X or Y. Plunge gets your tool into your material fast, but can lead to excessive stress when you're working with harder materials. With downcut or compression bits, it can cause burning. Zigzag ramp also lowers the router along the z-axis into your material, while also making lateral movements along the X or Y axis, resulting in the tool entering the material at an angle. The exact angle used is set in the ramp angle field. Zigzag ramp is a little slower than plunge, but reduces downward stress on your tool and is a better option for downcut and compression bits. An additional option, spiral, is available for profile and similar operations that follow outlines of your shapes in your project without clearing the inner area. Spiral lowers your tool in a constant motion around the contour of the assigned shapes, leading to the least aggressive downward stress on your tool of all options. As with zigzag, you can set the exact angle in the ramp angle field. Stepover controls the distance between each path of your chosen clearing pattern. A larger stepover leads to greater distance between each path and quicker runtimes, at the expense of a rougher surface. And a smaller stepover results in paths closer together, leading to longer runtimes but a cleaner finish. Common practice is to use a larger stepover for speed, but leaving a bit of material behind that can then be cleaned up with a finer stepover finishing pass. Enter an absolute value in the stepover field, or a percentage value in the stepover percentage field. The percentage represents the percentage of your tool's diameter. If your tool's diameter is a quarter inch, then entering 50% in the stepover will set the stepover value to 1/8 of an inch. These values are linked in both directions. If you adjust the absolute value in the stepover field, the value in the percentage field will change to indicate the stepover value's percentage of your tool's diameter. Cut direction controls the direction your router will move while carving. Setting this to conventional means the router moves against the rotation of the spindle, and when set to climb, the router moves in the same direction as the spindle rotates. As you toggle between these, the cut preview updates to give you a visual reference for the chosen cut direction. Conventional milling helps compensate for backlash, or looseness in your CNC's mechanical system, while climb milling increases tool life and leads to a better surface finish. The feeds and speed section is pulled directly from the values set in your tool library for the currently selected tool. If you want to make adjustments to them, you can directly edit them here. Changes made only apply to your operation, and these values won't override the settings stored in your tool library. For specific recommendations, the best resource is usually the manufacturer of your machine or tool. And if you saved recommended values to your tool library, it's usually best not to adjust them here. If your machine has a controllable vacuum or coolant that you've both enabled and set up within the custom G-code tab of your device settings, toggle them on or off to enable or disable them for this operation. Now you know what the most common settings are in the Operation Settings Editor, and what each of them are used for. In future videos, we'll dive into each of the operation types to go over what they are and what their unique sets of parameters represent. Be sure to like and subscribe for more great videos on mastering MillMage.